and gentlemen. Good evening. Y'all sound like y'all sleep. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. All right. We're here today, the regular scheduled meeting of the Lake Helen City Commission, and it will begin as soon as I take the roll call. We're back now. Zone 1.
Present.
Zone 2. Here. Zone 3. Here. Zone 4. Here. And Mayor's here for the moment. We have a ceremonial duties, and as we generally often do, what you most do, is that our resident chaplain, Louis Long, will come and give us the invitation. If you so please.
Still speaking, God, as we come together for a change of command with the newly elected mayor and commissioner on board, we thank you first for the history and the heritage we share as a community. And secondly, for the manner and attitude of these commissioners as well as our city employees and what each of them offers to our citizens. Thank you, too, for the service that each of them does that has no glory or fulfillment for them in it, but needs to be done. We are grateful, too, this evening for those in this community who spring into action, eagerly making eye contact and being on the record for saying, I'll help. Gracious God, thank you for leaders who risk and those who don't, for together they give us balance. Give them all strength to lead with integrity and perseverance. Please speak to their hearts and give them hearts for the people, despite the abuse we give them. Keep us from making unfair demands on them and remind us that their jobs are not easy, and help each of us to tend to our words as if they matter, because they do. Lastly, please watch over those who care for all of us and keep us open to the glimpses of the future, your future, that we see around us this day. And in your holy name we offer our prayer, Creator, Redeemer, and Sustainer. Amen. Amen. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen. Thank you very much. This is not a normal proceeding, so just to give you an understanding of what we're going to be doing here, we're going to have part of our record will be the consent agenda, which we'll do by voice approval, and then we're going to have an adjournment. And so that adjournment, am I right? Okay. And then after we adjourn and return from the adjournment, we will then swear in the newly elected mayor and the newly elected zone. Which one do you think? Zone 3. Got zone 2 and got zone. We got 1, 3. I get confused with all these things changing. So I think it would only be, you would give me a minute of your time that I can express to the city and to those that either come out and supported us that it's been a long haul. I started my journey in the city 20 years ago, 2005, when we were expanding the I-4 corridor. And that was the first time I became involved because the citizens called me and wanted to know why are they cutting down all the trees. Well, I ran in 2006 against this guy right here. I mean, not the other guy. Where?
He's sitting out
Oh, there. Yeah. I ran and I won by 3 votes. So I don't want to hear anybody saying anything about the 6 or 9 votes between me and Roger, because I got here because of 3 votes. It's been a very fruitful time, and this is the first time, I want you to understand something as well. This is the first time I've been in this room to hold a meeting since I was elected, because this was mold and other construction that needed to be done. So this was off limits. We did have our meetings over in the Hopkins Hall. We have come together back at home, back at this location. This is a special location for me. My mother worked in this school. She worked actually as she was working on the PTA. My daughter attended the portables that they have here. So I have a history in this particular building. So I can only say that I'm sure she is proud when I was elected as a city commissioner and then also as mayor. So where are we going now? Ron's going to take over the city as the mayor. Only take it over, he's the mayor. Mayor, if I can only give you some advice, is that one thing I learned is that you're not the boss. And you ever had kids say, you're not the boss of me. We have employees that are skilled at what they do, and we respect them for what they do, and if it wasn't for them, we would not have the success that we have as a community. I kind of let the commission and the citizens, whatever we could to address those things, and we addressed it as a commission, as a board. We all don't think alike, we don't act alike, we don't have the same beliefs. But the bottom line is that once we come into this, we are part of a team. The most important part of this city are our employees. Just respect them, and they will do more work and do more for you. So I don't need to say that to you, Roger, but I think I need to put that there in public. And we've got a long haul ahead of us, and we've gotten a long way. We've come a long way. So I'm just grateful that we've come to this part. And we have the newly elected and newly appointed, our farmers newly appointed, Ms. Ashar will be the newly appointed, and you will be the mayor. And I will be out of here. Out of your hair. Yes. I see some people from my church out there, and I could always keep telling them that I was at a meeting, so I keep telling them that. I would have to be more part of our church, and I really appreciate that opportunity. So that being said, is there any consent agenda? You want to carry it that way? Is there anything in the consent agenda that you'd like to? Okay, last next meeting? Okay, ceremony, okay, approval of the minutes. All right, anything in the minutes that you'd like to address, correct, or bring to the attention?
Make a motion, we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Motion, move to second.
Second.
Move and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. At this point, we should take this adjournment, because that will be the last motion that I will vote on. So, thank you for that, an opportunity to have done it, and take a few minutes. Do we have a?
When all the newly elected people in front now.
Are we going to adjourn before we just swear in?
Like you just said.
Oh, okay. Oh, so y'all adjourn? Okay, all right. So in about 5 minutes, we have the newly elected officials come to the front, will be sworn in. We have a Bible. If not, we have one.
Mayor, before you all go, I just want to thank you sincerely and Commissioner Donato for your service to our city. This job is not easy, and I know you've had some sacrifices along the way you've had to make. And so, sincerely, thank you for your service.
Thank you for that. So, 5 minutes, take a 5-minute break.
duties of the office
of Commissioner
of Commissioner
of the City of Lake
of
Helen,
the City of Lake Helen,
on which I'm about to enter,
on which I'm about to enter,
so help me God.
so help me God.
I, Roger Eckers,
I, Roger Eckert,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support, protect, and defend
I will support, protect, and defend
the Constitution and government
the Constitution and government
of the United States
of the United States
and of the state of Florida
and of the state of Florida
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
domestic and foreign,
domestic and foreign,
and that I will bear true faith,
and I will bear true faith,
loyalty, and alliance
loyalty, and alliance
to the same,
to the same,
and that I am entitled
and that I am entitled
to hold office under the Constitution,
to hold office under the Constitution,
and that I will faithfully perform
and that I will faithfully perform
all duties of the office
all duties of the office
of mayor
of mayor
of the City of Lake Helen,
of the City of Lake Helen,
on which I am about to enter,
on which I am about to enter.
so help me God.
So help me God.
I get the photographs out. This was started by our former mayor, Buddy Snowden, who was a retired deputy sheriff. He passed the shield on to Daisy Ressler, who was a retired deputy sheriff. And from Daisy, it got passed on to Cameron Lane, who stuck it in a drawer somewhere. So he gave it to me, and I carried it like a shield, like the shield that I carried the shield when I was on the job. You carry a fireman's badge, so I'm gonna give you another badge to put in your collection, and you can pass it on to Sean when he gets it, or whoever. All right, Roxanne, you can feel those needs in the morning. All right, good luck to you. That being said, you're the man now.
Before you go, I need you and Linda up front, and any of the commissioners that want to attend. Farmington has served the city for a long time, 2 years as mayor. Get these pulled out, right? So from the City of Lake Helen, Volusia County, Florida, certificate of appreciation certificate is awarded to Mayor Vernon Burton in appreciation of your service to the City of Lake Helen, awarded by the City Commission on this 13th day of November 2025. I won't unwrap it all.
The private joke is,
I believe in doing things a little bit better. So, for dedicated service to our community, Honorable Vernon J. Burton, Mayor, Lake Helen, Florida, 2023-2025.
I'm even now. I passed the gavel from him, so now we're even.
Okay, and from Linda Donato, from the City of Lake Helen, Volusia County, Florida, certificate of appreciation. This certificate is awarded to Commissioner Linda Donato in appreciation for your service to the City of Lake Helen, awarded by the City Commission on this 13th day of November 2025. Okay, well, we need to do a new roll call. Okay, we do a roll call. Yes, zone one,
Present.
zone two, zone three,
Present.
zone four. And the mayor's here. Okay. Appointment of the vice mayor. The vice mayor is normally appointed as a senior commissioner in the group. Heather Rutledge started in 2021, so she's a senior commissioner. And if she's willing to accept the position of vice mayor, I'll accept a motion on that in a second.
I'll make a motion to appoint Heather Rutledge as vice mayor.
A motion made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed. Okay, does anybody have any additions, deletions, or modifications to the agenda? Hearing none, go on. Next is public forum. This is open for anybody with a yellow card. Lewis and Karen Long.
A little bit of what Mr. Herman's called the season, even the background. Couple of meetings back at Hopkins Hall, Ricky or someone had mentioned the need for, funds to rehab the, basketball court. So on behalf of our family, we have a card with a check inside. Cindy Lake Ellen for $1,000 for the rehab of the basketball court, and this is what we wrote inside the card. For all that has been, thank you. For all that is to come, yes. That's the quote from Scott Hummershaw. And this donation, is from the Long family. Aaron, myself, Clark, and Chase, and who we do.
We thank your family. And that may be the first donation that started in that campaign. Okay, the next card is from Karen Long.
Thank you, Karen Long, 176 North Euclid Avenue, Lake Elm, Florida, and this is just a public service announcement. Wendy Anderson is a professor at Stetson, also an environmentalist, and she's running for county council, and she is very much into water and flooding issues, and she will be at the Lake Helen Library on Monday, November 24th at 5 p.m. She'll be at the Lake Helen Library for a town hall meeting about water and flooding issues. Thank you. So just wanted to pass on the information.
And George Rutt
Yeah, the coaches are working on it. They're situating with like, Econ Park and, some other places, so I'm just letting them handle it. But I told them that they need to practice, let me know, and then I will talk to you.
I think we could probably work on something.
They're playing this Saturday, next Saturday coming up, and if they win that, they go to North Carolina for the Super Bowl. So, and nobody has congratulated them. And so I think it'll be a good look. So, last thing, just get back to you.
Okay.
Okay? All right. Thank you.
Is there consensus, okay, and then we can get information?
Yeah.
Is there consensus? Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
You got a consensus, so if you wanna coordinate with us in reference to, you want it just a team in general, whatever, contact us and we'll work out for.
Definitely, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, Mark Glover.
Good evening, my name is Mark Glover, 6113 Bedford Drive, Livermore, Florida, 347. Congratulations, Mayor, congratulations to Lily and the city commissioners. My name is Mark Glover, and I'm with Line Strategist Partnerships. We came before this commission last month, as you recall, Mayor, and there was a consensus that we would be able to come back, and spoke briefly with the clerk, as well as the city administrator just before this meeting, and they said it was supposed to be in December. However, I thought that it was supposed to be in November with regard to the insurance recovery that the city of Miami may be amenable and entitled to. Javier Delgado is not able to be here tonight. He is the lead attorney, but I'm here with my colleague India Donshore, and I noticed that in the minutes, the consent that you, city administrator, talked about just now with Mr. Rodriguez, it was a consent that we would come back and basically have a vote this evening with regard to how we're going to move forward. And I think that's in the that's part of the video of the commissioning. But if you're going to do it next month, that's fine. But I think the time is ticking, and we're going to be able to put together a comprehensive package that has to be done no later than April 9th. And we're here to help, and we'd like to be able to have that opportunity to do so. I'm open for any questions.
Mayor and Commission, it's on the December agenda, and you would have a contract in your packet, and the attorney would have to walk you through the risks and the liabilities or whatever, so you wouldn't be voting on that tonight, it will be on the December agenda.
Mr. Delgado has been in contact with Attorney Simpson, and I think that there's been some communication, but I don't know that there's been recent communication. So
There was some communication, he explained some clarification of the contract, and Jim and I talked to other, but I think back in December. So I'll be back with Mr. Delgado between now and then, just to, he cleared up a bunch of stuff, just a couple more questions.
excellent,
It'll be on that December.
excellent. I look forward to it.
Just everybody knows, we have contacted the insurance, our insurance carrier, put them on notice of the claim, potential claim. I think they've already come out and inspected, so we got the claim number, we started that process just to preserve that,
Right.
so we had the time to send the contract.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
That concludes the public forum. Presentation, City Commission, an update on the 2026 Strawberry Festival.
And Richard Buckler with Buckler Promotions, 1946 Yard Avenue in Deltona. Just here to give an update for the 2026 Strawberry Festival held here at the Equestrian Center. As
it's a commission decision.
I know in the past we haven't approved the alcohol, so
What's the reason behind why we haven't approved the alcohol sale?
I think it varies by person. I haven't been in support of alcohol because it is a family event and it is a large event. And so just historically, our city doesn't do that, so that's been my reasoning. I can't speak for anyone else.
we don't like to mix alcohol with family events.
Well, we do these events all over the state and also in Ohio, and they'll all be the same setup. It's fenced, it's gated, it's done by a nonprofit organization, and part of the income does benefit a local charity. We've never had any incidents in the past, and it's very, very well conducted. They do a ID check, hand marking, which is done by separate people, and also they have a system for if anybody, even if they've never been served yet, appears to have been over-served somewhere else, they have a system of, here's a free bottle of water, you'll see us again in a few hours, if you're not over-served, and you wouldn't have them if they did.
I'm ready to make a motion unless there's further discussion. I make a motion that we move forward with the Strawberry Festival without alcohol.
I second that.
A motion and a second to have the event without the alcohol. Any further discussion? Anybody else in the audience want to weigh in? All in favor? All opposed? Motion passed. We can't do the alcohol this year, or next year.
Thank you very much for your time.
Update on the Creative Arts Center.
Yes, Mayor and Commission. I reached out to the city managers of Volusia County to see if anybody had any experience on taking a building like the CAC and putting it out on the market. And the closest I could come to was Deltona, which actually built a facility for the purpose of renting it out and having people run it. So no one took a building like the CAC and then had it go out to something. So I reached out to the Volusia County Growth Management, and they put me in touch with John Wanamaker, who was a board member, and John is also a commercial realtor with Caldwell Banker. And so John came out and met with me, and I told him, that we were looking at trying to get some information on what it would be like, in leasing that building, potential lease rates and what have you. And so there's information in your packet. I also handed out while they were doing the swearing in a little supplement sheet that should be there. It just had to do with mileage or traffic counts on the roads in that area. And then I think I emailed out to you previous to this meeting also the lease that you have with Sinatra's prior to that. So if on that, then I'd have John come up and just kind of walk through at least from a retail standpoint, kind of what the market is in terms of that if it was to be utilized as a restaurant primarily.
John Wanamaker with Cole Bank Commercial. Congratulations there, Mayor Becker. It's been a long time.
About 30 years since we were together?
38.
38 years.
38, yes. Yeah, we were, I was a paramedic back then, and Roger was the engineer over in Deltona. And then here I am now in real estate, actually for the last 38 years. So what I did was I took a look at, I was trying to show you guys what restaurants would rent for if you would actually go out and lease them. Take a look at the packet, you would see some of the rates are saying negotiable, $20 a square foot, but if you look closely, they usually at shopping centers. Restaurants need a lot of traffic in order to survive. And then I took a look at what some deals have actually closed, and then I did some demographics based on the drive time. So you store a map there that pretty much 10 minutes gets you outside of Lake Helen. But if you have a restaurant, it's probably more of a local restaurant. So that's why I produced the trips per day on this particular street, and it ranges between, say, 1484 to 2800 trips per day. So trying to lease that to a restaurant, I think would not necessarily be a good
pursue stuff here in Lake County.
Yeah, actually, and I'm opening up my phone, not to take the text message, but these things are everything. So, one of the rule of thumb that's used in the restaurant business about what they can afford to pay for rent is, rule 6 to 8. So, you saw in some of the comparables that restaurant sites were leasing for $20 a square foot. So you have, your building is 2,500 square feet, which means that's $50,000 a year of rent, plus the CAM. And without even including the CAM, the restaurant is still in there, $50,000. The sales would have to be $833,000 a year. So that's why a lot of restaurants, especially family-run restaurants, even small businesses don't make it. We realize it's so for people that, want to use space. We talk about these kind of things because if we grow up buying a house and we say, 28 to 30% of our income can go towards rent, we think that works that way in business. Then it's got to be the smallest percentage of your salary. That's why, catering or some other type of use would be perfect.
What is the rent, for catering in this spot?
We have done a couple of leases for, we did one over on Boulevard, that rent, for that place, where Beijing is. We did a lease there 3 years ago for a place that was doing catering, it was like $12 a square foot, and a CAM was right around $2.50. So when I say CAM, that's common area maintenance, that's a percentage of the real estate taxes, insurance, and operating expenses on an actual building. So that's what a lot of landowners do with the triple net lease.
And how did you calculate to get to the 833 for restaurant? And you said rule of 8. What does that mean?
Okay, so pretty much it's the rule of 6 to 8. So anywhere a restaurant, depending on the type of restaurant, they will take their rent, whatever that yearly amount is, and they'll divide it by 0.06. And that will give you that amount in sales that you have to be able to do at a particular location. And if it's a sit down or a bigger restaurant, then they'll do 0.08, which means that they can afford to pay more rent.
Okay.
Yeah, in fact, all of you retailers have that.
6, 7.
So just to get it, everybody knows Dollar General, right? It's one of those kind of stores that everybody loves to hate, right? So, their market is 4%. So if they feel they're gonna do $2 million in a particular market, if you cannot put them in the building for $80,000, which is 4%, they're not gonna go. And, if you guys need any help or have any questions, please, reach out. I still serve on the Team Solution Board. I was the chair for 2 years. I'm also the vice chair for Career Associate Bar and Flag for Volusia County. Actually, the only person that survived the merger in the state from our county. And I'm also on the chair, not the chair, I'm on the board for Florida Hospital Fish Memorial. I really have that help. So I do a lot of hours here.
You sound bored.
Yeah. Yeah, too many boards.
Thank you for your time. I
Okay.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
We do have a blue card from George Rodriguez.
So, how did we do that package? How did we do that information? And it is true, what he said, a lot of restaurants do fail. A lot of restaurants. That's why I'm not trying to do it. I have food trucks. I want to bring business to Lake County. I have people always asking, I've said this before, so information. Everybody asks, where do you locate? I tell them, Home Depot. All the time. I want to bring venues to Lake County. been spent, no money coming in. Septic tank is gonna, how much you guys spent for that septic tank?
$55,000.
Look at that. It hasn't been flushed. You guys let me know. Been in front of you guys numerous times. Yeah, we've talked numerous times. You guys are the right thing. So please, consider me. Sit here.
I have a question for you, Mr. Rodriguez. You said that the figures on paper were not doable, so is there a ballpark that would, that you'd be entertaining?
I would have to sit down with you. There is a board on this. You know, I've looked at numbers, I've looked at what one small food truck can do versus now I got a larger food truck doing more venues, do venue with Amazon. I'm booked with Chick-fil-A to do their, holiday order. So, there's different things that I can bring to the table, a lot of different things. Not only money.
Can you work on a proposal to get something to the board?
Excuse me, sir?
Can you bring something to us with some numbers?
Oh, yes, definitely. I can definitely bring some. Any questions?
I'd like to see a proposal of members too.
I'd like to say, I hate to see it done in this, when you
Yes.
guys migrate.
I agree.
Get you in there.
Yes.
And that's the thing, I'm tired of seeing that building sit. I'm tired of seeing facility like unused. I wanna see that's generated.
Bring something to us,
Will do.
and let's look at it.
Now, how long will I have to wait? Because I know the commission sits every month. This, for the new board, this is about a year and a half in the making, we coming up.
I know it wouldn't take you very long to write up a proposal, because you already got it figured out in your head.
But
I don't know, the only thing we do is either wait till next month or call a special meeting.
Well, it would send the proposal in, and then it would go to Scott for review for legalese and sufficiency, nothing to do with rate or anything like that.
Right, it would have to go through the contract and everything and make sure everything's,
Is that,
and that's,
is that extra information that he says, do you guys have that information as well?
What he said tonight, yeah, it's public.
Okay.
we even got the agreement that they have with Deckers.
That's what I'd ask Scott, can they just go ahead and enter into the agreement with one person without putting it out?
They would have to decide that they don't want to go out for proposals and ask just for one person. We would make that finding that it's appropriate to not go out for proposals, to do that. Normally, you would go out for proposals to see what else is interested. And also just remember, we're in a little bit of a different situation than all the other, privately owned properties. When we turn this into a restaurant,
soon would you need the information if we go for a 3 or 4 week proposal submission?
Well, I mean, we have the square footage of the building, I mean, we could just place an ad, say we have a 5,000 square foot building, city's looking to entertain lease options, and we could do that.
And you have the deadline like a week before the next meeting or
Yeah,
something?
I mean, we could give it I'd say 1 month max, but like I said, there's no timeline that puts it there, but at least if we're gonna talk about maybe doing this in January, then I would say a month, and that would, we got an ad out, say by Monday, then you have information in December, plus we have his proposal, and then anybody else's.
All I say to the position is, we're commission, somebody from outside that doesn't care about this community, but they'd rather have somebody that's been here, that grandmother started here, the mother started here, the business started here.
Alright, thank you.
Can I say something?
But say it.
Go on out.
We need a motion for proposals or just a consensus?
I just want to be clear, I think George is a great guy, I think he'll do great things, he has my vote, but just to be clear, before you put the proposal out, do you think, and George maybe needs to weigh on this too, you have that whole building, the garage in the back, that what was the museum, you could not choose to rent all of that if not needed, and keep that for your own use, and just give him the front half. Do you want the whole building?
Well, it all depends on what the city, I'm just trying to get the building.
Exactly.
Like, I'm just trying to get the building. So, but there's certain ways on how the building's laid out to where
It's very
it would have to be,
confusing.
if a certain place, if the city chose to separate it, it would have to be closed off a certain way.
Yep.
And then again, also, does that mean about the parking? Does the city mean that they can park there when I have traffic coming in? Or an event coming in? Or the police officers wanna park there? That brings up a whole nother thing.
I just want to make sure you guys are putting the proposal out correctly so it doesn't get muddied up. Do you want the whole building gone, or are you gonna section off and make it more feasible for him to rent, and you guys keep that back area for your own use? Just a thought.
Or do you want half of the building rented and half of the building not?
I'd like to see us know a proposal for the whole building. Do we need a motion or just a consensus?
Are we gonna do the whole building, or are we just gonna do a section of it? I don't know, do we need any part of this?
I think the easiest way to start out would be to advertise the building, see whether or not we get any interest, and then people may get interest, and they may tell you, I don't need the whole building, but I think instead of us trying to square off, and then we may lose somebody, because we turn around and say, well, we're keeping this, or well, I want to get bigger, so, I mean, that's my recommendation, is y'all vote, but that's my recommendation.
Okay.
Hey, Mayor. Hey, Mayor, I just want to bring up one more point to you guys. I'm sorry, Jim, because it's so kind of this again, but I'll say it again because I stand strong against that building because I was part of it. That building was built by the citizens of this town, by businesses of this town that put their money towards it. For us just to rent out the whole building and make it just a source of income, I don't think it's right justice for the building itself. If the restaurant portion was to be rented, I don't see an issue with that, but I still think that the other part of the buildings are classrooms and stuff that will need for people to do crafts and whatever dishes stand forever. Because that's what that building was done, and it was, I know there was partial money with Edward Grant, partial money spent back, but there was far more in kind of donations and volunteer work that was done in what that building was to be. That's just my opinion.
I know there's a lot of hometown adherence to wanting to keep things different and everything, but we are in financial constraints and we need to find places to make income. And that is a cash box waiting for us to open and for our citizens, to benefit our citizens.
have your name and address?
Hello, I'm Samantha Carlo, I'm the owner of the Dirt Plant Nursery in Lake Helen. I was just wondering, what stopped the kids stuff at the Creative Arts Cafe? Like, what stopped from the kids doing like different classes and stuff like that to bring in the town?
Loss of rain.
Loss of the grant was the big one. Interest in people coming in to hold classes there, didn't produce anything.
Because I feel like we have like a lot of people who volunteer in this town and they love this town. A lot of people have kids and you know how the rate of crime and everything is just getting worse and worse. And if we did something with the kids on that part of that, you know, every week or something we have food trucks come in, you know, the town, if we put a restaurant in, I feel like it'll mess up the small businesses that we have that are coming in, that are actually doing well, like the little cafe in town, the pizza place, I feel like that's doing very well. And I feel like if we do like a little bit of something different, then it'll help everybody in the whole town, instead of them going against each other in this town.
Most of the restaurants and the one that George is planning is not gonna interfere with any of the current restaurants in town. This is a total different venue.
Okay.
And talking about small business, we started here.
Yeah, he started a small business and he's expanding and he's still considered a small business.
So I think it would be a good idea to kind of separate it. You could have the venues come in and then also something with the kids, or when the holidays come, we can do different stuff like that. We have more and more small businesses coming in that we can volunteer or do different stuff with our, you know, our businesses as well.
I have engineers that can teach classes. I can have people teach Excel to these kids. I can have these kids stop riding wheelies on the street.
His original proposal was to have various different types of classes
So I think
that
that'd
are
be a good
related to
idea
his
with this
business.
planning. Thank you.
Mark, Eric?
Mark Parrish, 139 West Park Street, so I didn't really look at the agenda and didn't realize this was going to be on there, but as you all know, you've been in the space. It's an awkward space. It was built for a specific purpose. It was designed for those things. I think that the kitchen area is too big, the dining area is too small for large-scale applications. You know, something that we looked at in any kind of like reasonable modern venture. And there's also that museum space, which was the craft and the school space that's off, and then also the storage space. So we have a unique building to consider. We got it for a good deal. Had to pay back the grant on me. Maybe $175 was it for that size building? But the equipment in there, as far as the kitchen equipment, is probably shot. Who knows what shape the hood's in? So any proposal that you consider, you have to carefully consider what sort of things that you would provide versus what the new tenant would provide as part of the business venture. You know, just things to consider. You know, I have no idea. I wish I had a good idea for what use that space could be, but it's what you guys are looking for. Thank you.
Mayor, I'm on Volusia County Property website, property tax estimator on Volusia County website. The assessed value is $2,411,000 for the property, so if the entire property became taxable, remember when we had the Deckers and maybe Sinatra, that only half the property became taxable. Whole property became taxable, you're looking at somewhere between $38,000 and $45,000 in taxes, which we don't
guys be able to still do, not pay?
No, you have to pay half.
Well, still half.
Yeah, that's how it used to be. But I'm just saying that, that's just an important thing that we, because I think in one of the tenants, I think we got to pay the tax bill, and pay a little bit of the tax bill. We just gotta keep that in mind, and that's what's different than us from any other property being rented. We're taking the tax, property that is not subject to tax. So basically subject to taxes in part or all. So they're going to the money of the county for taxes, for that portion of the private business.
That's why when we figure out the rent, it's gotta include the taxes, it's gotta, it's going, is the tenant gonna pay the power, the water, the sewer, and the garbage, or is the city? All that's gotta be figured into the rent cost and everything.
You start
In
out
addition to,
$3,000 to $4,000 a month, just pay taxes before you ever get into rent. That's, so when you look at these numbers of comparables, they say, $18 square foot in and in. Well, then that's $18 plus those taxes that, and insurance. So just let y'all know that's the kind of number we're looking at.
But once again, those places were heavily trafficked.
The value is based purely on, the taxes are based on the assessed value. I can look up what the assessed value is right now. For 2025, it was $2,411,000, which was a $600,000 increase in value over the last year. So it did increase the whole piece of property, whole thing, whole property. If you split it out, the taxes go down because we use the other part for tax exempt purposes, for city purposes, the taxes will go down.
well, all that'll come out in our discussion when we get the advertised proposals and everything from everybody. And when we finalize everything, to figure out what everything's going to be before we make a final decision on it. So, we'll probably end up having to have a workshop on it just to go through everything that needs to be gone through on it. So, we're ready to make a decision. Okay.
All right, I make a motion that we move forward with proposal, going out for proposal for a 3-week time period, so that we can be prepared for the summer.
And a motion to go out for a 3-week proposal advertisement. RFP. Second. Charlene seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion passed. What for? Advertise for proposals.
So you all say 3 weeks, looking at the calendar, we would like to have a proposal back on the 5th, that would be the Friday before the following Thursday meeting, on the 11th. The proposal needs to be submitted by noon of close of business on Friday, December 5th.
December is always it. Okay, public hearing. Resolution 2025-16 budget.
Resolution number 2025-16 by title only for first and only reading. A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Lake County, Florida, approving the final budget for the fiscal year 2024-2025, year budget by and effective.
Mayor and Commission, this is a budget amendment involving last year's budget, 24-25. We were over budget, and we were over budget for 2 reasons. One, the Commission voted no money for hurricane cleanup. You remember the debate during the workshop, people were more worried about millage rate. So there was $0 put away for hurricane. And we had Hurricane Milton, and it's cost us $427,000. So we have a choice. We either don't clean up the city, or we clean it up and we deal with the problem after. We got the city cleaned up, we met the governor's deadline, and we've been promised by the state we're supposed to get 100% reimbursement. And then the other portion is this building. This wasn't on the budget. We had ARPA money, but that can be worked out on how that gets moved around once the balancing is done. But that's the reason for a budget amendment. It's not any line item. It's not malicious spending or unaccountable spending, the false information that people threw out there today. You'd think they'd have a little more sense in reference to the finances, involving the city since they were part of the budget process. Zach, you want to just tell them where you're moving it from?
So I can quickly explain, or actually I'll do a quick introduction and take it from there. First of all, congratulations to the Mayor Commissioners, I acknowledge that. Zach Shalford, James Moore, I'll be here for kind of any perspective, institutional knowledge to pull from. I do want to introduce Vincent Acton, who's a new part of our team, former finance director, got him kind of over to our side as we're expanding the team. I figured he'd talk through some of the mechanics of this, and I can help fill in kind of the comparisons to prior year otherwise. I'll kind of get some of the highlights. So I'll turn it over to Vincent now. See you guys.
Thanks, Zach. Nice to meet you all. Thanks for having us. I'll just follow up on the 2 points that the city manager raised, and then happy to answer any follow-up questions. But as far as the 2 particular issues, the mold remediation here in City Hall, we have looked through your financials on a preliminary basis, and we anticipate that the $200,000 that's included in the budget amendment for that particular item will be offset by a combination of favorable revenue gains and expenditure gains elsewhere throughout your budget. It was presented the way it was in the budget amendment summary, just for the sake of ensuring compliance and trying to simplify what's presented in the actual amendment itself. And the second item is the $400,000 pertaining to the hurricane response. And really all that comes down to is timing as to when the corresponding revenue from FEMA will be able to be recognized. So it's not so much a question of if, but when. And so the budget amendment essentially contemplates that that revenue won't be available until next fiscal year. So on a temporary basis, we'll be drawing that balance down from fund balance, but in a matter of time, once we've gone through the proper protocols with FEMA and actually receive the funds, the city that balance will be essentially replenished. And so whatever temporary drawdown may be experienced on the financials this fiscal year, you'll see a corresponding gain next year. So I'll leave it at that and answer any questions.
I'd like to ask, so I understand the budgeting process, but let's pretend that I don't. Can you explain to me how dire the situation is that we're looking at? Because I know there's, to a layman, it can be very intimidating to see a large amount like that with a budget amendment. So can you just explain that in really simple terms? How, is this common, is it not common, is it scary, not scary, what should we be worried, et cetera?
Yeah, I'll be happy to. So budget amendments are not uncommon. This is an annual practice. I think the city adopted a fairly similar amendment last year, maybe just short of $400,000. Similar issues. These are not uncommon issues for municipal governments to address. And really it's only addressing a matter of compliance. So there's no cash being expensed here. There's no additional expenses being incurred. This is simply amending your budget to ensure from a compliance standpoint that your budget addresses what has already taken place.
Thank you.
What I could say on that is since we have nothing budgeted in this budget for hurricane, if something comes up this next year, we could be facing just that alone because we budgeted nothing for hurricanes.
We could be what?
We could be in the same boat a year from now. If we get hit with a hurricane this year, then we could end up in the same problem.
And what does the storm emergency funds, how does that play into it that we've got set aside?
Well, they're available if you never got reimbursement. I mean, so they're technically not in play right now, and you could say we're using that as a holder, but as he said, you're not really, it's not like the city is all of a sudden, my gosh, we lost $700,000. I mean, that's not the case. I mean, we still have reserves, we still have a small amount left over from ARPA, you know, even counting the budget items this year. And as I said, we weren't over budget, so you had actually improved revenues and were greater than what was expected. So all of that washes out. But as he said, it's the legalese that you do to balance your budget. But this idea that we're just spending money uncontrollable or whatever, that's just absolutely malicious and false. And anybody put that out there is the solution.
I have a question. The last budget amendment we did for hurricane, we never received that money from FEMA. What happens if we don't receive this money from FEMA? Where does that leave us?
Your hurricane money from the utilities.
Okay, but how much is that? That's like 350,000.
That's 360,000.
Yeah, so if we don't get this money, and we didn't get the last one, we're looking at over 500,000.
I don't know about the previous, because that would have already been accounted for, but yeah, that's the reality, that the state ends up stiffing us. But Charlene, whose responsibility was that? The commission didn't present any contingency for facing a hurricane, so that's the commission's responsibility.
So, why wasn't this taken into consideration before we did the new budget? This was 24-25, or the 25-26. Why wasn't this taken into consideration?
So this is just the amendment to basically close out fiscal year 25, to say what did we spend versus what was in the fiscal year 25 budget, so not totally, looked at totally independently.
But at some point, isn't this like gonna catch up? I mean, like, if you don't get the I'm just saying, if you don't get the 400,000, we take the 350 and spend that, so we're still 50,000 short. And then really, I don't know how the other FEMA money was made up, because we didn't get that either. So I'm trying to figure out what happens if we continue doing that and the money's not replaced.
Well, I think the answer is, correct me if I'm wrong, you're in essence taking money out of savings, is what you're doing. Your reserves are savings. You can't continue to do that. You have to replenish the savings. Now, hopefully the FEMA money will replenish the savings. But if FEMA money doesn't come in and you get hit with another hurricane, your reserves are your savings.
Yeah.
Now, look, I know I've heard this a lot from the cities. You look at the reserves, you divide it by the number of days, how many days of operating do you have in reserve, and that's kind of how they gauge the sufficiency of your reserves. Do you have that information? I mean, do you know how many days of reserve, how much we have in reserve, how many days of operations we have in reserve, and how does that fit in with industry standards?
Yeah, so kind of my auditor hat on, because that's always one of the key items, we kind of look at wrapping up and looking at financial position or health of an entity. So actually, ballpark earlier, looking at the fiscal year 24 audit, we'll have pretty good fiscal year 25 numbers in about a month once we get the last of our revenue accrual data in. Our unassigned fund balance in the general fund, our bottom line unrestricted relative to what we spent in the general fund was about 20%. Year to date, it was very rough math, about 20%, call it 2.5 months. The Government Finance Officers Association, kind of what you're thinking of their benchmarks, they recommend a bare minimum of 2 months and give you a whole list of reasons why you might want it to be higher. Are you smaller? Are you prone to natural disasters and so forth? So we are definitely, we're above the minimum recommendation, but not by a wide margin looking at just that bucket. What we have done is we do have the hurricane reserve policy, which that ties into where we up until two years ago, for the fiscal year 25 budget was the first time that was cut from the budget to set aside about 2% of the budget for hurricane, knowing that if we didn't spend it, we're going to add it to that reserve. The balance of that reserve was $230,000 as of the end of the fiscal year 2024. So there is that. We've had some intentional savings outside of just what's that unrestricted number. It's definitely not a significant margin over that, but there has been some of that, plus there's the 350. So addressing that, two questions. First, if we never got that 400,000 change back, that would basically reduce the 230. We'd say that reserve is gone. We've now got to fund 170. It could come from the 350 otherwise, but to Scott's point, that would be money that's gone. To Heather's question, just kind of where we stand to help paint the picture there a little bit more. I did do a gut check as we were looking at it. Total general fund balance, so your current assets relative to current liabilities, ballpark preliminary numbers, having accrual adjustments was down about $400,000 from 9/30/24 to 9/30/25. So that, to me, was kind of a gut check of, hey, where we spent the additional money on City Hall, we have favorable, we're over budget on revenues, other expenses are under budget, down about $400,000 in cash. If all those hurricane reimbursements come in and we were to assign it to this fiscal year, we're probably pretty flat for the year. So it's one just to that point, we're not down $700,000, we're down, give or take, about 400 FEMA numbers, very close, I think, on a one-to-one basis, what we're down. So when that money, if and hopefully when that money comes in, that will get it to where, pretty flat overall. So yes, not down $700,000 by any means.
So, based on what you said, based on the last fiscal year numbers, I guess including this amendment, are we probably, the city's about at the 20% threshold of reserve of operating expenses, which is about where the minimum that the regulatory agencies like to see. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, we're slightly above the minimum.
So to answer, I guess your question, Heather, we have a slightly better reserve than the minimum that regulatory agencies like to see, even with this amendment.
So yes, the amendment doesn't change actuals, it's really just the legal compliance side.
So right now, our financial reserve, which is really what you look at for cities' financial condition, we are a little bit above what the governmental agencies would like to see as a minimum reserve, so we can have that special. I don't know that.
It does, it's just, going into this, I already had that understanding, but it's nice to hear it from some experts that are advising us and letting the public know as well where we're at, so that these big scary numbers can be explained a little bit more clearly.
In the future, how could we put it back in the budget? As far as money put aside for hurricanes. You said it was cut out 2 years ago?
Oh, yes. For fiscal year 25.
Yes. So going forward, how could we implement that again as far as having money in reserve for that?
The commission would do that at budget time.
Okay.
If I recall, we didn't add any more to it because we were already above and we hadn't had anything that had affected it at that time. So we left it there, but then we had Milton occur afterwards and
Looking for a motion.
Hurricane Ian, we got money from FEMA recently from that?
They still haven't told us no, but we're not holding our breath on that.
Yeah, I know, because I thought somewhere in there that we had received something for Hurricane Ian. No, okay.
And we're not the only city in Volusia County that's not received their FEMA money.
Yeah, Ian did hit us that part of us. So before we vote on this, I gotta read the whole thing? Just like that.
Yeah, we're good. That's only for the, when we do the village, we got to kind of read and publicly announce the amount of the rollback and stuff like that.
Ready?
Okay, make a motion that we approve resolution 2025-16 as presented, as read by title.
I second.
And we've got a motion and a second, and we're open for discussion. Nate?
Socket.
I'm not gonna try the last name. discussion? Got a motion to approve resolution 2025-16. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? You opposed? I vote aye, so it's 4 yes, 1 no. CA finalist review. It's a different name on mine. Okay, what do we need to do with the CA review?
Colin's here.
I'm here.
Let me say Colin first before you start. I am retiring. Okay, there's no issues whatsoever. I am retiring. Tomorrow was supposed to be my last day. I said I would stay on with you guys. So I am retiring. So you need to do something with Colin. I'll still work with you, but there is a timeline.
Mr. Mayor, can I ask, what is that timeline, Jim?
Well, right now, I'll tell you January 2nd.
January 2nd?
Okay, well, my name's Colin Benziger, Associates, and we did the recruitment that brought Jim here, and we were hired to do another recruitment. Recruitment got put on hold, I think it was in October, or maybe end of September. We have 5 finalists that we recommended. My suggestion would be that you bring all 5 in and interview them. We've been lucky so far, and that nobody has dropped out. I do know that one of the final people on our list is under consideration at Palm Coast right now. He may be off the list in a few days, I don't know.
Which one is that?
Mike McLaughlin. So, you know, in this business, unfortunately, speed is a factor. When people are looking for jobs, and people learn that they're available, they sometimes are struck up, so to speak. That's a professional term. Anyway, to make a long story short, that's where we're at. I would suggest that the council decide
originally, I was apprehensive about moving forward with everyone that was provided to us. Now, after talking with Scott Cribb from the agency, I think that is, it's a great idea to entertain all of them. They are recommended to us for a reason by experts. They've been doing this a long time, and we don't have to choose any of them. So at least we'll know once we talk to them. And it's very different to see on paper, but to speak with them and gauge their knowledge would be more helpful than just looking at it on paper. So you don't have to do anything. You can go back to the drawing board or go back out. So just wanted to remind us of that.
Anybody else?
Who was the sixth? You added the name?
Yes, James Jensen from Hopewell, Virginia. Okay, got a motion and a second. All in favor? I answer first and comments. I haven't said anything. All in favor? All opposed? Motion passed.
And then the next question,
That's my question as well.
Man,
What's a reasonable timeline in your professional opinion?
the sooner the better, obviously, and frankly, I'd love to do it, what is today? November 13th. I mean, we could interview the 21st or 22nd of this month, probably. Or the 20th.
Friday, Saturday, we good with the Saturday?
24th?
You'll probably see somebody else from the firm, because I'm scheduled to go visit grandchildren on
good those days.
Sorry, what days did we decide on?
22nd. Yeah, November 21st, 22nd.
It should, give you a little bit of time to do a contract, and if this person, give 30 days notice, could very well start on January 1st.
The 22nd is better for me, if I'm being completely honest. 21st will be hard, but I can make it.
You just,
Well, not just one.
well, let me explain, just so you know, typically the first day we bring candidates in for a tour
Yeah.
and a reception in the evening, so from the council or commission point of view, there's no, real, not necessary for you to be available all day, it would just be a reception probably. And then the next day we would do the one-on-one interviews, full collective body interviews.
That's perfect for me then. That, I think that's what we've done.
I assume I'm not involved in it.
You don't want to get involved? We'll let you help us with the contracts.
That's what it is.
Are we done with, are we ready with that one? Oh, we already had a motion. Do we need to make a motion to set the dates for the interview?
But, okay, just before we do that, what level of staff involvement will we require? Because I think we have some conflicts with the staff.
It's really
On the 22nd, or the staff involved?
You want to have box lunch if there's something brought in. In terms of, we need space, office space for 5 elected officials, and we need somebody to move them, which we can do. So, as long as the facility is open, we can do that. The really tricky part on 22nd is making sure that each of the elected officials uses the 40 minutes they're allowed to use the candidates and shift them around, and speak dating minutes. That needs to stay on schedule, because if one commissioner goes over, and that influences the next commissioner, et cetera, et cetera. But it's something that we can have. We're very good at assisting to watch it.
And you did say someone from the agency will be available, I know personally won't be.
Somebody will be here
For both of the days.
both days.
Wonderful, thank you.
Rick?
Staff is that in the 22nd, right, my daughter's getting married. I have to give her away on the 22nd, so he needs to be.
I think that's more important.
Yeah, I think we're under the impression we just need to open the building and provide the lunches, so. And I don't mind running if we need to pick things up, so.
You want a motion for those dates?
Go ahead.
I'll make a motion to interview the candidates, the 6 candidates on Friday, November 21st and Saturday, November 22nd.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, I'm gonna go get some candidates some good news.
Thank you.
Somebody from the firm will be here 21st. Thank you.
Like approximately say for the chart that tells someone the interview times that we do. Okay, city administrator reports.
Just a couple of things, Mayor. First was I had a note here that we discussed, that you wanted to see if the commission would move the December 11th meeting to the 10th or the 9th, or whatever that week, because it conflicts with the Volusia League of Cities annual December dinner. So see if the commission is open, and then that way their schedules allow, we can just do that tonight.
I'm good for the 10th.
Okay, so December meeting will be the 10th, not the 11th, a Wednesday, okay? The other item, while I'm on vacation next week, Rick will be acting city administrator reluctantly. But, so anything comes up or anything need be, Rick will handle it like he does everything else, which needs to be handled properly. I have no concern in terms of that. And the other thing, the holidays, as I said, January 2nd is the date that I'm assigning, but it's also, employees have asked if they could use their own PTO day to be off on that date, because it's a Friday and they're off on the Wednesday and Thursday. So, I mean, while I technically can't tell someone they can't use a PTO date, but we're going to put that out there, and I just want the employees to have the option. Not everybody will take the day off, but they could if they wanted to, but they wouldn't be a paid holiday, it would be their own personal day. So there's no problem with that. We'll let you know how many people want to do that, so we can tell you whether or not City Hall would be open or not. And on the spot, are you going to do that one? The termites?
You do that.
Okay. Melissa Park has got to be tented. We have a severe termite infestation with the building. And I think Rick was that 2,800?
Yeah.
Oh, 32, thanks, sir.
But Boulder, who has our termite on.
Yeah. So just give me a heads up that you'll see that tented and whatever we need to go through that process. And we also have a rat problem in the police department and a Hopkins Hall. Hopkins Hall and the police department, PD. Pretty intensive. On
When
that.
should we expect the testing at Melissa?
I'll let you know that. We're gonna let you know tonight, so I guess we'll go ahead and tell them to go ahead.
I'll schedule it again.
Okay.
And same with the,
Well, the rats, they're already doing things with the rodents. They're already-
wonderful, thank you.
But we'll confirm the date on the training. That's all I got on there.
What's the plans on going further out, same thing, testing?
No, we have, fever control or whatever, the same people we use for City Hall, or whatever, they've already been called out, they'll be doing the traps and clean out and what have you. See if Scott's got anything.
Well, is that all you have for your? Okay. City attorney's got something?
No comments.
Director of Public Works, Rick Mullen.
Good evening. Just a couple of updates. I do have 2 items on there you have in your packets to approve tonight, hopefully. But I want to let you know we did acquire the mower, and it was also came under 35. It was around 29,000 and change. It only had 110 hours on it, and it has a 500-hour, 1-year extra warranty with it. Really nice piece of equipment, low mileage and everything on it, good price. Also today, the dump truck came in. My City Hall is here for a little bit this morning. We've got insignia and all that stuff. We'll be seeing it on the road doing dump truck things soon on that. I did come tonight before you. We did budget for the, I call it silo, but they're actually storage bins for material. We have the bid on there, JR Concrete was on there, was the lowest bid. I sent all, you had all the estimates already in there. I'm looking for your approval to get that done so we can put the bin blocks on there, go ahead and get that thing settled there. The second thing is the pole barn was also budgeted on there. We got our proper price, and that's including the whole thing, concrete, the whole, everything done. The only thing we'll have left is do a little bit of electrical work. We have more than enough to cover everything that I budgeted in there and then some.
Alright, I make a motion that we approve JD Junior Enterprises for the capital improvement project.
I second it.
And we got a motion and a second for the concrete work, is this for the pole barn?
No, it's for the
silo.
material bins, yeah, the whole bin.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? All opposed? Motion passed.
Make a motion that we approve the estimate from APT Trusses for the installation of the pole barn at Public Works at the cost of $25,617.59.
Second.
I second it.
Motion to approve for the expenditure for the pole barn, seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Guess we're gonna do it by zone. I only heard 2 ayes. Zone 1,
Yes.
zone 2,
Yes.
zone 3.
rewriting, so we have to get it out there early. And what you see out front here, most all that new stuff is from the donations from the Butler Express night and donation night. So you'll see all that lit up there at the beginning of what we have. We've got quite a lot of stuff to light up, so City Hall should look really, really good this year. Okay?
Thank you. Police Chief Robert Mullins. One represented.
Congratulations, Mayor. Congratulations, Sean. Congratulations, Earl. Just a couple things, turkey shoots tomorrow and Saturday, 6:30 to 9 o'clock behind the ball field, all over in Denver. It's always a good time. And secondly is the speed cameras in the school zones are starting to be installed. Just because they're installed doesn't mean they're going to be used yet, so we still have an exact date on when they go live. Also, if you guys get, hear anything over the next few months about cameras being on North Summit by I-4, those are license plate readers that are going in also. So I'm sure somebody will ask you what the cameras are. They're not speed cameras, they're license plate readers. They'll be going in Summit, I think we're going to want to look for that also. That way if something happens in our city and we have a time frame, we can try to narrow it down so somebody came into the city or left the city. So county also have, and the land, whoever needs it also have access to those cameras.
Yeah, I went through the school zone and seen the poles there and getting the wires hooked up for the meters and stuff. And they already had the signs out warning, speed camera enforced. So many people slow down when they read that sign.
I have to double check the setbacks are met, so, there was issues with other cities that had to remove them. Some of them removed them, some of them just moved them, they have to be 5 feet from the roadway. So, we're well past that. Any questions?
Thank you. Okay, Commissioners' reports by zones. One thing I want to do is we're going to start with this order, and each meeting we have rotated up one. So like we'll start with zone 1 at the beginning this time, next time will be zone 2 will start, then zone 3. That way everybody rotates through the beginning and the end. Zone 1.
And nothing at this time, thank you.
Zone 2.
First of all, I'd like to thank this board for considering me to be on the board. I would like to give Rick, they've been doing great work at Melissa Park. We're starting to see the city crew now, starting to do a lot of stuff in-house. So I would suggest that anybody sitting in the audience, just go by and take a look at what they're doing. They're doing a good job, they're doing stuff in-house, they're really out there working. So I applaud them for that. Thank you.
Zone 3.
I just want to thank everybody who supported me in my campaign and voted for me in the election. I attended the Veterans Day ceremony at the American Legion on Tuesday. I wish there had been a better attendance there. That's something I want to work on, is getting more people out to our events. And the last thing is I plan on holding one of my first town halls in January. I'll get the details together and let everybody know when I get that set up. Thank you.
Zone 4. And my turn. I also would like to thank all the citizens that trusted me to represent you. I hope to live up to what you want. If not, in the 2 years, hopefully somebody will come in. We'll see what happens between now and then. Hopefully, I'll do a good enough job you like me. But the Veterans Day event was the coldest morning of the year so far, so we did move it inside, and which got us out of the cold and the wind. It was, I think it was the weather that kept a lot of people away and stuff, but, I deal a lot with, since I'm on the board of directors with, Volusia I'm on the legislative team for the Florida League of Cities. And so I've been doing a lot of work with the legislators and going to the different symposiums and learning about what is going to be coming up. I would recommend, and I will see somehow about getting this information to all the commissioners, but you need to sign up for the legislative alerts and tap at the cat on the FLC website. Sign up for the league publications and text alerts from textalerts@floridacities.com. That will give you a lot of the information on what the Florida League of Cities is doing and what the legislatures are doing. They've already started their meetings and their conferences and everything. And the lawsuit liability one, they used the exact same wordings that they used back in January when they first proposed it. And it's already passed their committee on a 14-1 vote to increase the liability limits that the municipalities have to pay if we're sued. That's a big impact on us if anything happens.
Some of
the other ones that are coming up are going to have effects on us, so that's why I want to make sure all those commissioners keep up to date on that, and they will ask to send letters or emails to our representatives in support or opposition of various ones that will, and most of the ones that the legislator look for is if you can give a hometown feeling about the issue, not what the League of Cities puts out. How is that going to affect us? That gives the most prevalent thought in their decision process. Is how does it affect the towns, municipalities, not how it affects the whole statewide thing. That's where the 180 got in trouble, because nobody spoke against it, because nobody thought they were going to add so much to it. But now we're having to counter it. Also, to put on the calendar, get the right line here. Next year is the Volusia League of Cities 50th anniversary. They are having a big gala. It was supposed to be at the Ocean Center on March 26th, but because of some other conflict, they're looking at possibly going either the 25th or the 27th. But if we keep that somewhere on the calendar when that comes up, because they'll be coming up with that pretty soon. Daniel Saxman Wega is booked for playing the sax there. Jeannie Gardner is attending and speaking. The reason why they're moving is Amarillo is celebrating their 100th year anniversary on March 26th. And all the municipal elected officials are invited to their gala. So that's why they're moving it. So, need to make sure all that's on the calendar. And take a review of the list of the meeting dinners, because we end up having a lot of our meetings on the same nights that their meeting and dinners are, and some of their meetings are very relevant to getting information that we need for our communities. So we need to keep an eye on that. Besides that, thank everybody.
Mayor, just a reminder that if anybody wants to go to the December Volusia League, please let Aaron know, ASAP.
The what?
The December Volusia League of Cities dinner. December 11th. If anybody's gonna go, please let Aaron know.
Yeah, the Volusia League dinner, if any of the commissioners
Yeah,
Good.
to let Aaron know.
You know, we get us and a guest.